How many times have you tried to follow famous writing advice? Whether it's trying to write 2,000 words at a time like Stephen King, or sitting there for 2 hours straight every single day like Quentin Tarantino, only to realize you can't stick to it consistently. I've been writing every single day for the past 90 days, and in this video, I'm gonna show you how the only reason I'm able to do so is because I'm not doing it for 2 hours a day. To build this habit yourself, you first need to understand why all the advice that you're getting from your favorite writers, it's actually wrong. And if you don't, you're gonna make the same mistake with this habit and just give up on writing again. Think of it like trying to sing like Mariah Carey, except she's Mariah Carey and well, let's be honest, you've never belted a high C in your life. If you jump right in with All I Want for Christmas Is You without any singing lessons, you're gonna strain your vocal cords and your throat will hurt for days. So you do that too often, you're gonna damage your voice so bad, you're never gonna be able to sing again. You're not even gonna want to. That's what happens when you follow advice like writing for 2 hours a day, except instead of ruining your singing muscle, you're damaging your writing muscles. The more you try to force yourself, the more painful it becomes, and you start building this mental block that stops you from even wanting to do it in the first place. I think it's safe to assume that it's not a regular part of your routine, and if it is, why did you click on this video? If anything, you're still figuring out how to integrate it, but anytime you've tried in the past, you'd force yourself to do something way out of your comfort zone, like writing for 2 hours every single day. But what if I told you there was a way to write every day without ever getting discouraged? If you change your approach to writing and do it the way I'm about to tell you, it'll be as easy for you to write every day as it is for you to brush your teeth. And if you're not brushing your teeth, that's kind of gross. Can you start doing it? Let's take another look at singing. How could someone who has never taken singing lessons before bridge the gap between having zero experience to being able to sing along with All I Want for Christmas Is You with ease? A few months ago, I took a break from screenwriting, like altogether. I had other things to do. You know, I'm an important person. I figured that if I can't write as much as all these famous people, then why should I bother doing it at all? Then one day I had some extra time on my schedule that I didn't plan for. I was just sitting there kind of bored, not really sure what else to do with myself. And I just said, screw it. I used that time to just work on my screenplay. And you know how much extra time that was? 20 minutes, dude. I wrote 1 page. That's it, and I felt great about it. You know why? Because it was the first page I added to my script in months. Rather than trying to write every single day for 2 hours, just do it for like 15 minutes until it becomes a habit. The thing about habits is you sort of do them without thinking, and you'll reach a point where you feel weird not doing it. Or in this case, you'll feel weird not writing once it's a habit. But if you're trying to write a screenplay, 15 minutes a day probably won't cut it for the rest of your life. So how do you get to 2 hours from here? It's the same as a singer, dude. You just build your way up to it. But it's important to know when it's actually time to start writing for longer. There was one night I sat down to do my 15 minutes of writing. It must have been, I think it was like 12 in the morning, and I wanted to squeeze it in before bed. So I finally finished up, only I looked at the clock and it was 2 in the morning, dude. I literally thought I'd been writing for maybe 20 minutes and 2 hours went by because I like accidentally got into a flow state. Once something like this happens a few times and you notice that the 15 minutes just isn't cutting it for you anymore and the words just want to keep flowing out of you, that's your sign to start writing for longer every day. Just don't go too crazy, because you know, some days you'll feel better than others. So be realistic and figure out your minimum you can do on your worst days and start with that as your target. If you want some more tips on this, just book a free call with me using the link below. Even if you start doing this, you might start feeling a little bit overwhelmed at first. And maybe it's not about the time for you, but you're just flat out not comfortable with writing every single day. The best way to get used to having writing as a part of your daily routine is to start being lazy. And I know that sounds too good to be true, right? How often are you sitting at your computer trying to like force words onto the page? You feel the gears grinding in your head, but just nothing's coming to you. It almost feels like trying to light a match. You know how to do it, and you've done it countless times before, but for whatever reason, today, like of all days, you keep swiping against the box and it just won't spark. So you try again and again and again, but eventually the match snaps in half and you give up completely. Wouldn't it be great if you could just sit down and write without feeling like that, so it didn't feel like you had to write something right now? Lighting a match is not about how much force you use. It's just about how hot it gets from the friction of you swiping at all. You need to stop swiping so hard. If you were moving the max with just the amount of effort needed to actually get it lit, it wouldn't even be possible to snap it. So, okay, what does that have to do with screenwriting? Instead of trying to force yourself to write whenever you sit down, literally be okay sitting there for 15 minutes and not writing a single word. When you start, of course. The only thing your writing should be measured by right now is the amount of time spent. That way, you're just getting used to blocking out part of your schedule and putting writing there. If you sit down in your chair with your writing program opened up for whatever time you've allotted yourself, you've succeeded for the day. You can literally count that as your daily writing if you don't even write. The only catch is you're not allowed to do anything else. No browsing the internet, no texting your phone. I don't even want you saving your grandma if she gets stuck in a tree. All right, if it's your time to write and your grandma goes and decides to climb in a tree again, she's gonna have to wait until you're finished. Eventually, you're gonna start writing. Like, your brain will get so bored from sitting there that just so it can do something, it'll start coming up with words to put on the page. There's a certain mindset you need to adopt towards your writing, and if you don't, your dreams of being a successful writer will be just that. Dreams. Imagine you had a dream of traveling the world and Italy was on your list. Only there's a part of you that doesn't think you'll actually be able to do it. Maybe it's too expensive, or you don't think you'll get a passport. Well, there's a lot of other tasks that need to get done for it to even make sense for you to go to Italy. For instance, if you want to be able to communicate with the people there, you probably have to learn how to speak Italian. Even if you don't currently believe you're going to be going to Italy, learn how to speak Italian anyway. Like, your brain will start thinking, well, if I'm not going to Italy, then why am I learning Italian? Maybe I am going to Italy. Eventually, you actually will start to believe you're going to Italy, and you'll come up with ways to make it happen. If you want to be a writer, but you're not writing every single day, you're acting as though you've already failed. You need to start doing something towards your goal of being a writer that tells your brain not that you want to be a writer, but that you already are a writer. Because odds are, if your goal is to make a living as a screenwriter, it's something that you want to be doing every day. Why not just do it every single day now? What do you do when you don't have anything to write? When you're just sitting down every day, doing your writing time, but even after the 50 minutes are up, the pages are still completely blank. If you don't start using the toilet paper method right now, you'll never be able to finish writing your screenplay. And if you somehow haven't heard of this world famous toilet paper method, lucky enough, I actually made a video about it right here. So this will be the make or break for your ability to come up with ideas for your next script. But other than that, I hope you all enjoyed this video and that let me know if it helped you at all. But without further ado, well, no, you say that at the beginning. Goodbye.